Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Esther Franchuk and I'm a professional artist, dreamer, traveler, creative, and in this vlog I'm gonna show you more on my progress, the life of my studio, what I have been up to. But before we dive into it, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you will not miss any of the new videos. This week I actually worked a lot on my newest Australia-inspired pieces. I put them aside for some time and I started this big piece, but this week I was actually able to come back to them and work more on them and to move them forward. So I'm gonna show you them just in a minute. I also started writing poetry again, which I'm really happy about because I was really thinking this time, like, it takes me a long time to write captions for my art and descriptions, and sometimes I feel like just so not free when I'm trying to write, and I realized that I'm really abstract in the way of thinking and in the way of expressing my thoughts. Sometimes it has to be really beautiful and really aesthetic, so when I'm trying to write something that is more simple and in the moment, to put it on the website or just as a description, it's not fully 100% me. So I decided to go back to poetry because I used to do a lot of writing, creative writing and poetry in the past, and that has been so cool and so free and liberating of just putting my thoughts as poems and have them go together with the new pieces. So with all of the newest pieces that I'm working on right now, I will have a poem to go together with them to complement them, and I feel like it's just way more beautiful and creative way to put my thoughts together, and it just has been really cool to dive more into that. Also today, on the way to the studio, I picked up shipping documents for the painting. This is something that you gotta do in Ukraine and also in Europe. I think in Europe, some countries, some states have a bit simplified procedure for that, but what I have to do here is basically acquire from the National Museum of Ukraine official art expertise for each paintings that I'm shipping abroad. So I have been doing that for as long as I'm staying here or everywhere in Europe. I basically send them all the information about the art and sometimes where it goes, but mainly just information about the size, the caption, all of the dimensions and picture of it, and then I receive a document. So some of the documents for the newest pieces just arrived, so I can show you also guys how they look. It's been a bit weird for me to acquire this official expertise every time for every single sketch, every single painting, but it just how it works because the country has a lot of national inheritance art and they just trying to protect everything that is of a value and an older and specific time frame, from the past, more this historical art pieces, to not be escaping the country, or I don't know. It just to protect historical cultural inheritance, so we gotta do that. It's pretty simple though, but it's interesting little detail for the process of what goes into shipping art abroad, and I try to acquire for all of the pieces once they're finished. So when we do sell things on the website, I will have documentation to go with shipping and not delay shipping. So yeah, that's just little note on the processes. Let's open this. Let's see. I actually had to do it with my local smaller, we also have in our town a smaller museum before, and I used to go, if you had to go with your actual physical painting, and then they allowed to bring pictures of that, and I would go and stay in line and get each document. These days it's way simpler. It comes from Kiev, just one-day delivery, but it goes through some official process and I just fill up everything online, so it's much easier. So that's how it looks. Have to attach it to the package to make sure that it leaves the country and goes through customs safely. Yeah, so let's explore the studio and what I have been working on. I haven't at all worked on this piece of art though, but you remember that one, right? Now it's an empty space because I wanted to go for the aerial view. I was telling you guys in the previous vlog that I was really struggling because it was getting too concrete. It was getting more an actual illustration of what I was trying to do, and I was telling you also that I really want to go for the feeling, like how Australia feels and like how I felt in the moment and the essence of it. So I was like so unhappy with the direction that I just turned it around. Like it was supposed to be vertical and I gravitate towards vertical, but I turned it around. I didn't get to film the transformation because I was so frustrated in the moment and I didn't know like if I just gonna ruin this piece or it's gonna become something. I just went with it and I tried to just change it completely and overpaint it. I started it like overpainting. This is how it was. So this was the top. You can see a little bit how the previous composition was. And then I just tried to kill it. In a way, I was married too much to all of the little cute details and effects that I created and all of the nice texture. I did so much that it was too much. And I had to overpaint most of it. So then when I turned it around and I lost like the perception of that composition, which is super helpful, like by the way, like if you like don't know what to do with a piece at some point, you just turn it like upside down, or with abstract you can like just keep turning them and then they just become something different. So upon turning it a couple different ways, I stopped on this composition and I actually really love it because I wanted to do a coastal aerial like, inspired view, but now it's just really, it's more the essence and the feeling, and I really like, it's not done yet, but it's far more along and way more in the direction that I wanted. So I like this orange and it's kind of like sun and the beach, and it just all blended it, but it's more as a feeling, and it just feels for me way more loose and free and fresh. So a lot of changes, but good ones. So I also worked a lot on this one. I keep it in the frame because it really helps me to actually see how much more further I should work on it. I'm thinking to add more white over here, but I'm not sure. It feels like it might be too much pink, but I kind of like the abundance of pink, and for me, like, it's not necessarily bothering me. I really love that bush that is an Australian plant that is really fun, that we found on our hike into the waterfall, and it was basically looking like a corn. I thought we were joking that it looks like a corn and it becomes a corn, and it already like grows on those sticks, and I sketched it a bit. So I really wanted to do something portraying that plant in my Australian series. So we'll see how this develops. This one I already actually wrote a poem to, and it's gonna be called Simplest of Things, or The Simplest Things, something like this. I feel like this piece is a lot about, to me, how simple things in life, like sunrise or something in the nature, like cup of coffee, like everything small and daily and ordinary can just fill our day with so much joy and happiness, and how much of the impact those little things do in our life. That is what this painting and the poem is about, and it's probably a pretty normal thing, this plant, for Australians. But for us it was a really fun, because we never seen something like this before, so it was a double joy. Also, I put quite some time this week on reworking a lot. This week was a lot about reworking. Some weeks are just like starting and being excited and trying something new, and some weeks are like, this did not work and I have to rework it and I have to change the vision a little bit. So I didn't change the vision for this piece, for these two pieces, but I really changed the direction that they were going. They were getting too many lines, too many rough edges, and the colors were a bit too canned and just not this like soft, soothing colors. They were going a bit too much into this like contrived look. So I just took a lot of white paint and the roller and I went over it, and then I started adding softer color and softening the edges. And also those butterflies, like I want it to be a lot about butterflies, but they were just like too bright on the contrast of the background, so I softened also the edges, and I softened, like I made a lot of wings just like fade into the back, and that helped a lot. So the idea for those pieces were that they can go like both ways. They can be vertical and they can be horizontal to fit multiple spaces, and I think it's really cool, but it is really challenging composition wise, because you kind of have to make it work both ways, and we say it, a task with a star, it's just a little bit extra. So that has been another thing that I'm trying to keep in mind, like they have to go both ways, because I don't know like where they're gonna go. Like I'm imagining spaces, but sometimes you just work with the space that you have, so it has been just really a lot more customer-oriented approach than my own creativity and tendencies. And it comes with a lot of growth, this realization that it's nothing noble to just always do wherever you want and wherever you feel in the moment, and it's a bit immature approach to life and to the business, especially to the business and to everything. So being more customer-oriented, being more collector-oriented, and actually thinking like, okay, where do these pieces gonna go? Like how people gonna hang them and where, and how it would like complement their space. And just taking all of this knowledge into account on each step of the way has been really transformative for my business and for my own journey as an artist, and it enriched me in different ways that I expected, but enormously upped the game. So it just helps me to be more collector-oriented, more generous with seeing their perspective, and less egocentric, which is great. Some other cool things to add. This painting gonna go to US, to the gallery in Sarasota, Florida, which is super cool. I'm excited to be there on display. Yeah, this is just really cool news. We gotta package it and ship it, so it's gonna be a busy week ahead. Another fun thing, we finally got a studio carpet. Didn't unroll it yet, but I'm excited. I'm excited to make the space feel more cozy and nice for both us working here and for filming. It will just make a huge difference having a little corner that is a bit more cozy. So I'm excited about that. Last but not least, I do love art supplies, and I do have a tendency of ordering too many weird things from all over, and I ordered this fun case for plein air painting from China, from AliExpress or some of these funny websites. So it looked a bit cooler on the picture, I have to say. So right now I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. It was supposed to be this like little easel box that is super vintage looking, and it has some fun place for brushes and whatever, but I honestly thought it was gonna be a bit bigger. So we'll see. Let's see if I use it. I'll let you know. The idea was cool though. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and all of the updates. There are gonna be way more to come, so stay tuned and I will see you next week. Bye bye.